comes to you on a Wednesday afternoon. The Royals already have wrapped up a winning homestand, but with a win today, they can have back-to-back winning series. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. Joel Goldberg will be coming up. Royals starting pitching is on a nice roll. Over the last 7 games, their collective ERA is 2.25, and leading the charge is Danny Duffy, and he's been almost unhittable in his last 3.
We might very well be seeing the best Danny Duffy we've ever seen. This guy's amazing what he's doing. He's filling up the strike zone with all 3 pitches. His last 3 starts have been outstanding. You can't ask for much better. The record, sure, he's getting some run support. The offense is coming along, but that ERA right there, that's minuscule. That's exactly what you're hoping that a pitcher can do. Doesn't always happen up here. Strikeouts are coming, the wins are too, but the leadership role has never looked better.
Another thing that's really helped the Royals lately is clutch hitting, and we'll dive into that when we come back. Last night after the Royals' 5-4 win over the Tigers. Big theme for the Royals for most of the first half was not getting base runners. They didn't have much problem getting that. It was getting them home. Royals, for the most part of the season, have led the league in grounding into double plays. They have not hit very well with runners in scoring position. They have been incredibly clutch on this homestand.
They have, and RISP, runners in scoring position, that is a needed commodity in order to get wins, and it just wasn't happening in the beginning part of the season. But now it's coming on, and the 2-out offense in specific, and that really breaks the opponent's back. A great number right there to have. They're starting to do it. You see, they're just doing the little things now. Even Salvador Perez, he's going to the opposite field. Drew Buteras inside the park home run. All with 2 outs is making a big difference, and it's helping these Royals back in the win column.
The Royals have been doing a lot of scoring in the first inning, especially on this homestand. Last night it was a Mike Moustakas 2-run home run in the first, and Joel will talk Moose when we come back.
This is some of the best that we have seen from Duffy in his career. What a role that he is on, and his fellow draft classmate and California native Mike Moustakas made a little bit of history last night. Most importantly, as Ryan talked about first inning runs, Moose was able to add to that total on the homestand. The Royals have scored 24 runs on this homestand, and 15 of them have been in the first inning. 2 more last night because of the home run swing of Mike Moustakas. And we know this, as we see in our Kubota power stats, Mike Moustakas can go deep with the best of them, and his home run last night in the first inning put him in with this group of 4 or more 20 home run seasons as a Royal. No one may ever catch Brett, maybe even Sweeney, but then you see Big John Mayberry and the rest of the group, Moustakas, Beltran, Jackson, and Balboni, all great home run hitters during the Royals' career. And Salvador Perez, with 5 more home runs this season, will find his name on that same graphic. He went deep for number 15 last night. Ryan and Rex are back after this.
Lottery. Every ticket played gives back to Missouri schools. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. And by Chevrolet, the most awarded and fastest growing brand the last 4 years overall. Find yours at your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. A couple of close games in this series. The Tigers came back late and took game 1 5-4, scoring 3 in the ninth. Last night the Royals held off the Tigers with the help of the bullpen, McCarthy and Peralta, and won 5-4. The deciding game is coming up next. of their last 7. Danny Duffy can be tough on left-hand batters, so Ron Gardenheider has Leonis Martin and Jim Adducci on the bench. No left-hand hitters in there today. James McCann rather, is out, so John Hicks will do the catching. Danny Duffy, 11 starts ago, his ERA was 6.68, and now it is 4.40, and this will be his second start of the year against the Tigers.
Boy, he's been really a pleasant watch, that's for sure. Watching him and his mechanics has been great. Everything's been working off his fastball since 10 starts ago. It's working really well. The opponent's just 2 for 11 in his last start, and there he is loving on his former teammate Yordano Ventura.
Using a tongue depressor to put in Yordano's number 30 in the back of the mound.
Defensively, the Royals, Whit Merrifield is back out in center field. He told me that he hasn't made a diving catch out there, and he's ready to do that. Get a little Trevor turf on him. And Mondesi's back in the lineup playing second base. He's doing a good job this year, either wherever they put him, especially with that bat in his hand. He's been tough. This is his 8th start at second base this year.
Jeimer Candelario, who batted cleanup in the first 2 games of the series, he will bat leadoff against Danny Duffy, and he fouls the first pitch away. He is just 1 out of 7 so far in this series. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Tigers have pretty good average against left-handed pitching this year. They're 3rd best in the AL from an average standpoint. We'll see how they handle Duffy. Duffy's, we mentioned, on top of his game right now.
And they're seeing a different Danny Duffy. The one they saw back in April was the struggling Danny Duffy, who allowed 13 base runners in 4 2/3 innings. He was pitching on short rest, but still, that's a lot of runners. But Duffy has turned his season around, and he begins his outing today with a fly out to Bonifacio. And it's not just Duffy, but Danny and the other young members of this Royals starting rotation over their last 7 games. A 2.25 ERA, a 164 opponent's batting average. Those are the other 2 starters in this series, Heath Fillmyer and Bert Smith, who got his first win in 5 seasons last night. And this is the 10th consecutive game that the Royals have started a pitcher age 29 or younger. They haven't done that in 9 years.
And it's been impressive, and that's good for them and their confidence. And sure, they're facing some teams that maybe not be the top echelon teams, but they'll certainly be tested this weekend. They go to New York with that offense. But still impressive. Anytime you can hold a big league team and their offense down under 200 over that period of time, you're executing your pitches.
Those 3 guys, thanks to Dave Holtzman's research, established baseball history last night. Keller, Fillmyer, and Birch. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And when you mentioned that to manager Ned Yost today, the look on his face, he looked like a proud papa. He was really proud to hear that. That's the first initial look when you asked him that question or told him that.
2 down in the first inning, and in case you weren't with us, first time in Major League history, 3 rookies pitched 3 consecutive games, all going at least 6 innings, all allowing 3 hits or fewer, and all striking out 6 or more.
You know what? When you're the first ever in this sport, as long as it's been around, you should be proud of that. Joel had an outstanding interview with him today in his pregame show. It was good to eat. We talked about the pain. Ooh, man. Talked about how painful it was, all those years of rehabbing and waiting and going through the injuries. And when Joel asked him how he felt about getting the win, he said, you know what? It was a little emotional for me. I can only imagine. all the hard work that's gone into that. And so these guys put their whole life into it. Good to see him come out with a win. First one in 4 years.
Yeah, Bert Smith essentially missed 3 seasons.
5 years, excuse me. Yeah, first win in 5 years. Yeah, I mean.
0-2 on Castellanos.
Then after his initial Tommy John, he recovered. What's that take, a year? He's made a start, and then he was done for another year. Could imagine.
Big hop to Moustakas, and Danny Duffy has a 1-2-3, top of the first. The Royals likewise will be facing a lefty today, and that will be Matthew Boyd. Lucas Duda and Brian Goodwin are not in there with a lefty on the hill. And it's good to see Adalberto Mondesi back for the first time since the All-Star break. He was away from the team for personal reasons. 27-year-old Matthew Boyd got off to a good start this year. But over his last 14 starts, his ERA is about 5.5, and this will be the 3rd time he's faced the Royals this year.
Yep, and the key for the Royals to beat him is to lay off of that slider. It's been really good. It's got a tough downward break. Just 179 is all they're hitting on it. Try to leave it alone. If you do hit it, you swing and miss, or you hit a topper with a ground ball.
Merrifield has cooled off some during this homestand. He is just 3 out of 20 with 1 RBI, but still having a great year overall, and especially against lefties. That .383 batting average is 4th best in the major leagues.
He has a good approach mentally, and he has a game plan when he goes to the plate. That's very important. Sometimes guys will go up there and they'll just be flailing and bailing. Had some success off of Boyd in his career.
Still 1-2. He missed the target. That was supposed to be down and in. It was down and away, but he got wit to chase anyway, and Boyd gets his first strikeout.
defensively. The Tigers this year, they've struggled defensively. You know, they're minus 19 as far as defensive runs saved. That's 21st in Major League Baseball. And at first base today, the kid Ronnie Rodriguez, just his 3rd start over there overall in his career at first base. So Ron Gardenhire, he's doing some experimenting with his players. He's got some athleticism. We've talked about that the last few games. He's got some athletes. This young man, he's a free swinger.
Inside on Rosell Herrera. He has 4 hits in the series. One ball, 2 strikes. And Kauffman Stadium has been a good fit for Herrera in his 14 games here. He is hitting .327. Just got a piece of it. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. After today, the Tigers will go right back home. They just had a quick road trip to KC. The Royals have a long road trip in front of them. That's a called 3rd strike on a fastball, and they're 2 down in the bottom of the 1st. Royals will travel to New York for 4. Then play 3 in Chicago, then 3 in Minnesota. 10 games over 11 days beginning tomorrow. And with all the talk, with all the speculation, you wonder if Mike Moustakas is going to soak this one in today. Well, trading deadline will occur while the Royals are away. Bloop to left field, and that's down for a base hit.
Yeah, you know, nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow, obviously, but still with the baseball and the trade deadline coming up and Moose's name being thrown out there, he obviously understands what's going on. So yeah, this very well could be his last home game here.
And I think he did some soaking in the last game of the season when he and Eric Hosmer and Lorenzo Cain and Alcides Escobar all got standing ovations when they came to the plate.
Yeah, but then that little huddle they had after the game was over, you know, it's kind of an emotional thing for the fans here. And even Vargas was involved in that, and all the guys that potentially could be gone. And so then as the offseason went on last year, it was, you're talking to Royals fans, they were saying, I miss him, I miss him. And I said, we all said goodbye to them on the last day of the season. Ooh, man.
Salvi continues to sting the ball since the All-Star break. He hits it right to Iglesias, and the Royals are down in the bottom of the 1st.
you can stream games live on your mobile device. Download the Fox Sports Go app, log in, and stream the Royals.
Danny Duffy had a 1-2-3 first inning. John Hicks is doing the catching and batting fourth for the Tigers today. He was not in the lineup for the first 2 games, and Duffy gets him to chase a high fastball.
That's his overall number. Hicks 297 with a couple of homers off the lefties. Talked about their average 264 as a team, being 3rd best in the American League. They're hoping they can hit Duffy like they did last time, but I don't know. Duffy's much more in command. His 3 pitches have been flawless in his location. There's a find. There's a spot.
And he's going to dig for 2. Bonifacio's throw ricochets off of Hicks. So he has a leadoff hustling double. Let's go downstairs, and here's Joel.
Thought it was a great shot, Ryan, that you showed before of the 3 rookies on the bench. Heath Fillmyer, Brad Keller, along with Birch Smith. And Birch saying earlier to me today in that pregame interview that the 3 of them talk all the time, pick each other's brains. But what he said to me was that Danny Duffy has been a really good resource. We talked about this after the interview. He said, yeah, Danny is left-handed, but he's the guy with the experience. He's the one that can tell us about the approach against certain hitters that he's faced over the years. He also said that they can learn a lot from his workout routine, taking care of the body. And he said most importantly, with the struggles that Danny had earlier in the year, all of those rookies are able to have learned and are still learning from the way Danny was able to handle the tough times, never complaining, taking responsibility. He said that they have all been able to learn from the wisdom of now the veteran Danny Duffy.
Yeah, gotta love that. It's always nice to have a big brother around.
And they were big time struggles for Duffy. That's into left center field. Hicks went back to second. He'll be waved home, and he will beat the throw. So Victor Martinez drives in his 9th against the Royals. He had a big 3-run home run to make last night's game interesting. And the Tigers strike first for the first time in the series.
Being aggressive. He picked that ball off the ground. That's a curveball at 75 below the strike zone. Now Hicks, he had to honor the line drive. He didn't want to get doubled up, so he went back. Wasn't exactly sure where the defense was playing, but his speed is good.
Martinez has 136 career RBIs against the Royals. Duffy's going to have to hurry, and he just got Ronnie Rodriguez.
That's a great effort there by Rodriguez. Gardhard not sure. Duffy was very calm. He's an excellent athlete. He feels his position well. Did he get it? Yes, he did. Nice play by Danny. Didn't panic. That's a tough play. Bare hand. He's got to spin around, get his throwing foot, and Dozier kept his foot on the base.
He'll go down as a sacrifice and bring up Jacoby Jones.
Well, that curveball Victor hit, he was ready for that. It's almost like he said, all right, first pitch curve, here it comes.
.136 RBIs in his career against the Royals. That's 3rd all time, trailing only Paul Konerko and Jim Thome. 1-2 on Jacoby Jones. Danny's gone back to his curveball. He has now thrown it more times this year than the previous 3 seasons. And why not with that opponent's batting average? 138. In his first 15 starts, he was throwing his curveball fewer than 10%. Mondesi goes out from second base and makes the play, 2 down. In Danny's first 15 starts, he was throwing his curveball less than 2%. In his last 5, almost 20%.
He's found the release point. He's found that command of it, and that's what that is. The changeup, curveball. Those are field pitches. Got to really get that touch. And that was a nice play by Mondesi, by the way. That was not routine. See the ERA dropped here. This is what's impressive to me, is that ERA has gone down so far that there's a lot of pitchers that wouldn't be able to recover from a rough start like Duffy had. But he has so far.
Ball one on Jose Iglesias. 2 balls, no strikes.
You know, I mentioned Victor Martinez like he knew it was coming. Well, with the success that Victor's had off of Duffy and Jose Iglesias here, you get confident. You start thinking, well, he's not going to throw me a first pitch fastball with the runner in scoring position. So Victor probably was sitting on the curveball or something off speed. These guys are smart hitters. He's been making a good living for a long time with his bat. 381 all-time off of Duffy, and 360 for Iglesias right here.
That's hit hard but pulled foul. He likes to swing if it's close, but a lot of times if a player has great hand-eye coordination as a fielder, they also have it as a hitter. So he's down in the count quite a bit, but he's not easy to strike out. Duffy tried to speed up on him. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Jammed him. Alex angles away from the sun and makes a play. Victor Martinez drives in John Hicks, and the Tigers take a 1-0 lead. True moment later in today's game. Jorge Bonifacio will lead off. Matthew Boyd throws a strike. Bonifacio's just 2 out of 16 on the homestand, but he has a double and a run scored in each of the last 2 games. 69 miles an hour. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Boyd's really mixing them up. That first inning, he had a lot of Royals off balance, that's for sure.
Two and one. Got it in on him, and Bonifacio flies out to Jones in center field, one away. Matthew Boyd has a 9.11 ERA here at Kauffman Stadium, which is a bit surprising for a guy who gets fly balls. It's a good fly ball pitcher ballpark. That's the third highest all time for anyone with 6 or more starts. 9.11.
And believe me, the performers know that. So he probably saying, I get a start here in Kansas City. Well, all right, let's quickly move from the negative and we'll look for the positive. How are we going to make adjustments? And he kind of goes through and figures out what the hitters have done against him, the pitch selection that he's used. And so there is a lot of preparation work to try to improve that.
That's through the hole. He got it by Candelario and Iglesias, and Hunter Dozier is on with one out.
Okay, now they say this ball had eyes on it. I mean, to get it between the third baseman and shortstop just like that, I mean, just nearly, that's good hit and good living.
One on, one out to Alex Gordon. Well located fastball, 0-1. That gets away from Hicks. And now runner in scoring position for Gordon.
That'll help. It's going to be a wild pitch, the 5th of the season for Boyd. Alex Gordon has a chance to knock in a run here. One of the things that he's struggled with a little bit this year, hitting under 200 with a runner in scoring position, 196. If they don't have the drastic pull on, maybe he can find a hole. Yeah.
That ball, man, did you see the English on that?
That looked like a wiffle ball.
Alex hit a curveball in the right center field, and I'm not talking about the pitch. I'm talking about the movement of the ball. So he comes through to drive in Dozier and tie the game at 1.
Yeah, you know what? We rarely see that from up here, but there's the curve, and then he
watch this ball.
Hooked it. He hooked it, and that ball just really did curve to the right. Good placement and nice hit.
I mean, usually you have to pull the ball to hook the ball, but he hit it to straightaway center field, and that ball took a sharp right turn. Ball 1-2, Alcides Escobar. Now Alex has 501 extra base hits in his career. One and one on Esky. Esky is one of 4 hitters in the lineup today that have good numbers against Matthew Boyd. For Esky, he's hitting .381. And bunting. Bunted it hard, and Candelario couldn't pick it up with his bare hand. Bunt single for Alcides Escobar, and the Royals have 3 straight hits with 1 out.
You know what? I like how he bunted that ball. Now he pushed. I mean, he bunted hard. I mean, he didn't want to just touch it. This is not a finesse bunt. He's going to directly make the third baseman come and field it. And he's got a little head start out of the box. We call that a drag bunt, and it was perfectly executed. That's his first bunt base hit of the season.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's, we've seen Escobar have 5, 6, 8 bunt base hits a year. So it's nice to see him pull that one out. He's got the ability. So you think he can keep the line moving.
Up and away to Mondesi, who has not played since the All-Star break, tending to a family matter. He brings a 4-game hitting streak into today, which includes a 4 RBI game. Holtze looked it up. The year that Escobar hit .293 for the Royals, he had 11 bunt base hits.
So important. You get 3 or 4 of those a year, it does a big time number on your batting average for the better.
Out in front. 1 ball, 1 strike. And just to completely beat a dead horse, those 11 bunt hits for Escobar that year, that was good for 14 points to his batting average.
There you go.
Difference between 279 and 293. Foul tip, and it's 1-2 on Mondesi.
You don't get as many at-bats from the right side of the plate if you're a switch hitter because there's just not enough left-handers. So he's got a couple different swings from the left side to the right side. He takes his hand off, a one-hand takeoff from the right side.
That's back into the crowd.
And having been off for a week or so, the timing could be a little bit tested here. You can take all the batting practice you want, but until you get into a game and you're facing a big league pitcher that's got 4 pitches or more, it's not easy.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
Matthew Boyd, there you go. Talked about the slider in the open. It's been really good. Keeps it down out of the strike zone. 45% fastballs, a couple of different variations. But the more pitches you see, the better chances you get.
And look at how much more he is throwing that pitch. This was your key. 33%. That's a lot for anybody. 1 out of every 3 pitches is a slider. Last year he threw it 11% of the time.
That's part of the adjustments he's making in his game here, realizing that he gets ahead with a fastball. It's tough for a hitter to hit that pitch. He's got good downward rotation. Look at that. There it is. It's hard to discipline yourself to lay off of that. Especially the angle too. The sidearm angle like that presents a little more difficulty picking up the release point.
Alex Gordon has doubled in Hunter Dozier to tie the game at 1. He's at third. Escobar's at first with 2 away. Boyd struck out Witt in the first inning on more of a curveball than a slider. And now fastball is up and away. 2 balls, no strikes.
You know, Whitley's bat head's pointing right up here to the booth, and I can see the hollowed end of the bat. They call that a cup. You know, they cup the end of that bat to balance the head out. I can see it all the way up here. Now, if he goes to check swing a ball, I mean, his bat, don't you think the first base umpire would be able to see the head of that come through?
So you might want to paint the top of that bat.
Yeah, get a black Sharpie out, a dark colored pen, and pencil that in. And the great Freddie Lynn, longtime, old-time ball player, he taught me that when I was teammates with him with the Baltimore Orioles. He said if you have a dark finish on your bat and they hollow out the top, that either have them paint that in there or you get a pin and hollow that in, it could save you that bat or two. It's really smart wisdom that he gave me.
Well, he's having a tough time picking up the breaking ball today. And he's done well against Boyd in the past.
That's the thing. You're just going to have to be a little bit more selective. You're going to have to make him throw that for a strike. Take 1 or 2 of them. But with a runner in scoring position and with 2 outs, the Royals have been successful here on this homestand in this situation. Whitley wants to hit.
So they're going to stick with the breaking ball here on 2-2, and first Boyd will sling it over to first base. Royals have scored 25 runs on this homestand. 15 have come with 2 outs. Hitting almost .350 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Out of the breaking ball again. And Witt is furious.
It's that slider.
But the Royals tie it up. Alex Gordon drives in Hunter Dozier.
Parents and grandparents, it's not too late to purchase your perfect gift for the young Royals fans. Purchase 2018 Sluggers Blue Crew box for just $30. Membership includes a jersey, flat bill cap, drawstring bag, 2 compression sleeves, 2 home game ticket vouchers, and much more. Sign up now at royals.com/Blue Crew.
Our 5-year-old son Lucas this morning could not find his compression sleeves, and he was not happy.
What color are they?
It's an array of Royals colors: royal blue, powder blue, white. Happy 4th birthday. Reyes hits it to center, and Witt runs it down.
That's a pretty good wood on that one.
So first time through, the Tigers have 1 run, 2 hits against Danny Duffy, and now he'll get Jamer Candelario for a second time. Candelario flied out to Bonifacio in the first inning. Candelario is a switch hitter, and Ron Gardenhire has 4 switch hitters in his lineup today. Nico Goodrum on deck, Victor Martinez batting 5th, and Victor Reyes, who just flied out to center field. One and 2.
Yeah, big difference average wise. 97 at bats, 227 from the left side. So it's quite a difference. Good pitch by Duffy. High fastball, 4-seamer up above the belt.
Strikeout number 2 for Danny Duffy. His first strikeout victim is digging in right now, Nico Goodrum. Duffy got Goodrum with a curveball.
Another $1,000 to his charity. Every strikeout. Noah's Bandage project. That's really special. Joel was talking about it in the pregame show today. And it was really amazing how far that's coming, what they've been able to do with all those bandages for the kids and band-aids and the money that's been raised. Duffy should be really proud of his impact on his community here. And he is. $1,000 a strikeout. That's a significant donation. Hope he gets 10 today.
He has 109 strikeouts so far this year. That's inside the bag. Bonifacio plays it off the side wall, and Goodrum, with his helmet flying off his head, is into second base with a 2-out double. And he did that on a 1-2 pitch.
He's one of those players that has a hard time with his helmet staying on. That happened yesterday too when he was running the bases. Some guys just seem to, I don't know, that's a good pitch there, and he went with it. It's hard to keep your helmet on sometimes.
And his helmet was chasing him in between first and second.
He kicked it.
So an RBI spot for Castellanos, who was driven in 56, but he rolls it out to Escobar. In the dirt, Dozier picks it out with a backhand. And so Duffy works around Goodrum's 2-out double.
Chris staffs the front desk at one of the agency's 6 shelters. She also is one of the supervisor volunteers that helps set up and organize the annual holiday store, and gets a particular joy from watching children pick out and wrap gifts. And she's sitting in the Buck O'Neil Legacy seat at today's game. Rosel Herrera struck out looking his first time up. Tigers scored in the second on a Victor Martinez RBI single. The Royals scored in the second on an Alex Gordon RBI double. It'll be Herrera, Moustakas, and Perez in the third. In the air to center field, Jones is out there today, and he's got it, 1 away. And now Mike Moustakas with 1 out. He singled against Boyd back in the first inning. A little bit outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Boyd seems to be pitching with a lot more confidence than I've seen him in a long time here.
Here you go, Hood.
No, it's still short.
Play the bounce.
Watch out.
Nope.
That had the right trajectory.
StatCast powered by AWS. And that's perfect with what Mike Moustakas has done. The shortstop Iglesias is right on the border of the yellow and green. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, and Moose hit a nice line drive last night. Wouldn't you know, there was 1 guy over there. I mean, it was a beauty. Good swing, caught it. It can be really frustrating.
And he hits it hard the other way again, and there's Iglesias waiting for it. 2 down. So Salvador Perez, he lined to short his first time up. Salvi hit a home run last night, a low line drive against Jordan Zimmerman in the 5th inning. And in our Toyota League leaders, Salvi has 5 straight seasons of 15 or more home runs before turning 30, putting him in a very elite group with a couple of the best catchers of all time. Yogi Berra and Ivan Rodriguez are the only 2 who had 5 or more 15 home run seasons before turning 30 in the American League.
Those are Hall of Famers. I talked to Salvi today about first base compared to catching. And it was interesting. He said, you know, I get to catch the ball both places. He said, but catching to me is more fun because I don't have a lot of experience at first. It's kind of unfamiliar to me. And I see on that ball.
He is stinging everything since the break. So much for the guy who got no rest during the All-Star break. He's on with 2 outs.
So probably see Salvi behind the plate for a long time to come. And that's some 93, right? The low part of the zone. He's been raking those pitches, and of course every other one that he's swinging at.
Bonifacio pulls it foul. I wondered, and we discussed this on Friday in the first game after the All-Star break. I wondered what kind of an emotional lift
Salvi would get after having a down year, and his peers still saw him as an all-star. No balls, 2 strikes. And when Wilson Ramos wasn't able to start because of an injury, A.J. Hinch said, well, then Salvador Perez is going to be our starter, and used him for 5 innings in the All-Star game.
Didn't even hesitate. But A.J. Hinch did call Ned and say, hey, Ned, what do you think? I'd like to catch Salvi for 5 innings. That's respect. I like that, A.J. Hinch. And, of course, A.J. and Ned have become friends over the last few years because of their meetings in the playoffs.
Good start to the second half. An RBI a game since the break. Two balls, 2 strikes. Ned had A.J. Hinch on his coaching staff in 2015, the first of 2 years, and Ned managed the American League All-Stars. Still 2-2 on Bonifacio.
Second time through the order for the Royals. Let's see what they're doing. It looks like they are being a little bit more selective off of Boyd.
And trying to go the other way. Into right center field and shallow, and Jones is there to make the play. So we've played 3. It's the Royals 1 and Detroit 1. Home run in the 16th inning by Trevor Plouffe, and the Phillies beat the Dodgers 7-4. And the home run was given up by Kike Hernandez, not a pitcher, a position player. And Kike Hernandez made some history last night. Well, you know your pitching's thin when you're going to a position player in a tie game. Kike Hernandez last night became the first player since Babe Ruth in 1921, and that should catch your attention anytime you say the first time since Babe Ruth. Kike Hernandez played the infield the outfield, and he allowed 3 runs. Nobody had done that since Babe Ruth back in 1921. And then after 16 innings and 5 hours and 55 minutes, they have a day game today. And the Phillies lead 6-3 over the Dodgers in the top of the 8th inning. He also went 0 for 7 in the game and struck out 4 times.
Oh, man.
Have a day.
Oh, well.
And he's in there again today.
Yeah, at least you've been mentioned with Babe Ruth.
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You want to hear anything about the 0 for 7 with the 4 strikeouts? Listen, I did something tonight that nobody had done since Babe Ruth.
I wonder if any of them spent the night at the ballpark and just stayed there, woke up today.
Well, you got to go back and pack up your suitcase. Maybe the Phillies.
Yeah, might be.
Probably not the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Three balls, 2 strikes on John Hicks. He is leading off for a second time today. He led off the 2nd inning and doubled, and then came around to score on the Victor Martinez base hit. And he's been a good leadoff man today. He's led off 2 innings and reached base both times. That's Duffy's first walk. And here's Victor Martinez. That he had a curveball into left center field in the 2nd inning and drove in Hicks from second base. He has driven in 4 in the series. And that's not the first time that Victor Martinez has gotten a big hit against Danny Duffy.
No, that's a large sample size. Anything over 40, man. But these 2 guys in the same division have had plenty of battles.
Two fastballs. And Martinez, his 3 biggest hits against the Royals have come on off-speed pitches. And Victor Martinez has one of the lowest slugging percentages in the major leagues. 5th worst. But he has a double. He has a 3-run home run. And then today he has the RBI single, all on pitches other than fastballs.
Yep, and as good as he's going, he'll be swinging 3-0 here if he likes it.
He hit a fastball that time, and he'll get Hicks to 3rd. So he could anticipate a fastball there on 3-1. It's a long single for Martinez, and the Tigers have runners at the corners and nobody out.
Mo Lottery replay. Knows it's coming again. Just like the last time up, the curveball. He looked like he sat on that one too. 94, good short compact swing. He's having a solid series. Heating up from both sides of the plate. Had to be careful with him later in the game. Anybody on?
Ronnie Rodriguez squirts one over the Royals dugout. He was bunting for a base hit in the 2nd inning and was thrown out. So he was awarded a sacrifice. Danny Duffy made a good play to get him on a close play. And now Duffy's ahead 0-2.
So I had a chance to talk to Ron Gardenhire. I asked him about Rodriguez's stance and how he got ready before he hit. I said, Gardy, I've never seen anybody get ready like that before. And he goes, we never have either. But he said he has a good path to the ball, and he's able to generate some bat speed.
He had an at-bat last night where you saw he literally jumped into the batter's box.
Says he's an excitable one. Look at that. He got every little twist and turn.
It's like a samurai pose or something.
Yeah.
And that missed Rodriguez. So a run comes down from third. John Hicks on a wild pitch, and Victor Martinez goes to second, and the Tigers lead 2-1.
Ooh, man, that was way on in that right-handed batter's box. 11th wild pitch by Duffy.
Deep short. Escobar throws back across his body. One down.
Escobar, you know, he didn't have to jump, and sometimes you can get a little bit more on the throw when your feet stay on the ground. Did a good job. Quick release. Right on the money.
Here's Jacoby Jones with a runner at second, one out. Breaking ball for strike one. So John Hicks has led off both innings and reached and come around to score. That's through the left side, and Victor Martinez will be held. Jacoby Jones is 1 for 2, and now runners at first and third.
He reached out and hooked that ball in the outer half of the plate. It's elevated.
Jose Iglesias, and he put a charge into that one. Jose Iglesias hits it into the Tiger bullpen for a 3-run home run, and the Tigers have a 5-1 lead in the 4th inning.
It was a no-doubter. He's looking and hunting. First ball, fastball, 95. Just, you know, that provides a lot of the power as it is. But Iglesias is able to keep his hands close to his body and do the upper body rotation and barreled it. Letting the fastball supply the power. Good for his 4th home run of the year.
Victor Reyes flied out to deep center his first time up, and Duffy's ahead 0-2. One ball, 2 strikes.
He nailed it.
That foul ball gets Salvi.
I think he did.
Or it was a check swing.
Look at his thumb.
Good spot. 2 down. Duffy has struck out 3 today.
That's aggressive there. It is. I agree with you. Perfect location. Salvi making it look better, holding it up.
So 2 down to Candelario, who's leading off today. Sliders in for strike 1. Candelario's 0 for 2. The Tigers have 4 in this top of the 4th inning. 3 on the Jose Iglesias home run. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tigers and the Royals have hit the fewest home runs in the American League this year. Tigers have hit 2 in this series. The Royals have hit 2 in this series. And that's hooked through the left side. Candelario's on for the first time. And that's the 5th base runner for the Tigers in this inning.
Finding that hole over there, short and third, reaching out. Duffy just a little bit of elevation. That's the issue today so far. It's just up. And when you leave the ball up, hitters, they sense that and they can do a lot with it. Fans, help us celebrate the historic 2015 World Series championship with a Gold Threads replica jersey giveaway on Sunday, August 12th, presented by Fox Sports Kansas City. The first 15,000 fans through the gates will receive the giveaway before rooting on the boys in blue when they host the Cardinals at 1:15 p.m. Tickets available at Royals.com.
Here's the 8th man to come up in the inning, Nico Goodrum. Goodrum took a 1-2 pitch the other way and doubled up the right field line. He is 1 for 2. And now fly ball to shallow right. And Bonifacio comes up and makes a play to end the Tigers' 4-run 4th inning. 3 on Iglesias home run. Pizza and chicken. It's Pizza Ranch for the win. Jose Iglesias hits a 3-run home run in the Tigers' 4-run 4th. So they lead by 4 as Matthew Boyd goes back to work. Hunter Dozier leads off. He scored the Royals run in the second. After he singled, Alex Gordon got him home with a double. To right field, Castellanos over near the line, one away. Matthew Boyd in his first 2 starts against the Royals this year went up against Jacob Junis, and Jacob shut the Tigers down both times, giving up just 2 runs in a combined 14 innings. The Tigers scored 1 run in Boyd's first start, 1 run in his second start against the Royals, and now they've given him 5 in the first 4 innings.
Man, he's got to be pumped about that. That can be frustrating for a pitcher when you continue to go out there and do all you can to help your team win and you get nothing to show for it. As far as run support, nothing you can do. Last thing you do is when the media comes up to you at the end of the game and maybe somebody asks you, hey, are you a little bit frustrated that you're not getting any run support? That's when you really got to be careful what you say. You want to throw your offense under the bus, never. Or your pitching staff. You always got to stay together. That causes division in the clubhouse. You don't need it.
Big slow curve drops in for a strike, and Matthew Boyd has struck out 5.
It's on a nice little roll. Our second annual healthcare service night is back at the K on Tuesday, August 14th. Purchase your theme ticket to receive an exclusive Cherokee brand Royals scrub top and watch the Royals take on the Toronto Blue Jays at 7:15. Get your theme ticket today at royals.com/theme tickets. That's scrub top. Interesting. I like it.
The bacon wrapped strawberries are not included.
Yeah. But you look like an official medical person, doctor, nurse. How about it?
There's a lot going on with those things.
There sure is. I wonder how the guy that carries it from aisle to aisle and up and down the aisles keeps that in place like that. But this is
berry kebabs. Reyes is on the warning track to make the play. So right after the Tigers give him 4 more runs, Matthew Boyd knocks the Royals down in order in the bottom of the 4th. Has nothing to do with it. He's a subject of our Kia Drive to Success. He has the highest batting average against left-hand pitching in the major leagues this year. And it's not the first year he's done well against lefties. He's always been solid against left-handers in his big league career. His father is left-handed and threw him batting practice often. And so he's made that connection to learning how to see the ball coming from that angle. Goes back to his earliest days swinging a bat, and it's carried over into his big league career.
Yeah, interesting.
Mark Teahan, when he was with the Royals, was a very good opposite field hitter. He had a good inside out swing, could really drive the ball to left field and to left center. He had two older brothers who were right-handed, and in the backyard you could not hit the ball to right field. It would go in the neighbor's yard, and I think the neighbor had like 9 rabid pit bulls or something like that.
Right field was closed.
Like Sandlot. He didn't want to hit it. Yeah. So in order for him to compete with his brothers, he had to figure out how to hit the ball to the left side. So as a little kid, he had to become an opposite field hitter just because of the rules of the backyard. And
I like that.
One year he was the Royals Player of the Year.
That's pretty cool. There's a lot to say for that. Your upbringing and what you remember, what you log in. Duffy's battling him here.
Down on strikes, and Duffy has struck out 4. Castellanos is 0 for 3 today.
Making him chase. That's a beauty. Starts up, ball drops off the table. It do drop in.
And now the Tigers table setter today, John Hicks, who's batting cleanup. So he's supposed to be a guy that's cleaning up the table. But in his first 2 plate appearances, he led off. And both times he reached, and both times he came around to score.
Hicks is having a good season. 267 coming into this game. 255 at bats. He's getting some playing time. He's doing something with it. 11 doubles, 9 homers, 1 triple. Productive. And also doing a nice job behind the plate, throwing out 25% of runners.
And he's versatile. Catcher who can also play on the infield. And like Castellanos, he's been better against lefties this year. Back-to-back strikeouts for Duffy. And that gives him 5 today. We've been telling you how good Duffy has been over an 11 start stretch. Chipping away big points off of his ERA. So a rare day today where he gives up a big inning, a 4-run 4th. He has struck out 5, and at the end of 4.5 innings, the Tigers lead 5-1. good speed coming up. And if the Royals hit a triple in today's game, the Kansas City Honda dealers will make a $1,000 donation to the KC Urban Youth Academy. Matthew Boyd pitching with a nice lead, has allowed 1 run, 5 hits. He has struck out 5. He has walked 0, and he struck out Mondesi in the 2nd inning. It's not a big sample size. Mondesi's had 73 at bats, but he is starting to make the adjustments at the big league level that the Royals have been hoping for. More extra base hits. His hard hit percentage has spiked. 2 balls, 1 strike. Last year, his percentage was about 26%. He was striking out quite a bit, striking out about 40% of the time. That has dropped down. 3-1. And again, it's not a big sample size, but when you're looking at all the shortstops in the major leagues and the best hard contact rates, Mondesi is just a fraction as far as percentage under Trevor Story, who's the best in the major leagues. Trevor Story's at 46.7%, and Mondesi is 46%. So not a lot of at bats, but so far when he's put bat on ball, he's hitting it hard. And there's a chopper out to Candelario that came up on him, and Mondesi with his speed made it a close play. 1 down.
Continues to improve. That's what they're looking for. The Royals, they know he needs to grow, but the biggest thing they're looking for is health. They just want him to stay healthy, and that's something that you can't always control, but they're doing it by not playing him every single day, 5 days a week. That's what they said, but I'm sure that little rest period he had at home helped him some, but not like that line drive he hit and then almost beat it out. Can't catch that one.
Witt had struck out in his first 2 at bats, and now he gets one through the left side. He is on with 1 out.
Sometimes you wait on that breaking ball, you see it, and then you just fall right into it. Off the end of the bat, Whitley's back on it.
And now Herrera will try to keep the line moving with Moustakas and Perez coming up. He is struck out and flied to center field against Boyd. And a good swing. No balls, 1 strike. Merrifield saw that coming.
There's a little bit of trickery in that delivery. He's got some deception over there to first base. He's got a couple different looks. Down by 4. Gonna have to be careful. If you're gonna go, you just go the minute he lifts up his foot. First move. And as hard as he throws the ball over there, if you do take off, that'll give Rodriguez a chance to throw down to second base. And sometimes the lefty would lob it over there. That'll give a guy a chance to steal the base on the throw. But he's throwing it hard over there.
That's high. 1 ball, 1 strike. We just saw Bob McClure when the Twins were in town, and you were talking about what a great move he had, one of the best of his era. Witt got a good break. Hicks has to throw over Herrera. $19 stolen bases for Whit Merrifield, so he really learned something on those first 2 throws over to first base because he got a great jump.
Yep, and he went on first movement. That minute he picked up his foot, and he's using his left hand and his oven mitt to get the far corner of the bag. He likes to steal third base. If he can get a good jump, he might.
When Mac was the Royals pitching coach, the Royals were playing the Yankees, and Andy Pettit had an outstanding move. And Mac said something that stuck with me. He said, you don't pick off the good base runners, you pick off the bad base runners. Because if someone like Witt, who wants to steal today and is expected to run today against Boyd, he's really going to study that move. He and Mitch Meyer are going to break down some tape. Doesn't mean that Witt will never get picked off. But Mac was saying you get the guys that aren't expecting you to pay any attention to them.
That makes sense. But I remember facing a lot of left-handers in my day. The head was the biggest distractor of the move. I mean, you try to watch, their lower half, their leg, obviously can't cross the plane, but a lot of times they would deceive you with their head. And then Rosie didn't like that call. Well, actually, Rosie didn't say a word. The crowd didn't like it. Well, that's borderline.
It's also 6 strikeouts for Boyd. And now let's see if Mike Moustakas can add to the Royals' total of 2-out runs during this homestand. And he goes the other way. He will. And now Moustakas is digging for second. The Tigers just completely ignored any chance for a play at second base. Nobody was standing over there. Mike Moustakas, with his hustle, drives in a run and ends up with a double.
Second hit on the afternoon, and I could watch Moose coming out of the box. You could tell he was going for 2 all the way. And with 2 outs, that's a good time to do that. To make the 3rd out, oh well. You know what? You made a good effort to get in the scoring position. Look how he carved the corner at first. Coming in, and absolutely no play at all, no slide.
Nobody was even at second base.
Nope.
Big slow curveball swung on and missed. So the Royals have another 2-out run. They have scored 27 runs on this homestand. 16 have come with 2 outs.
See if they can come back and get a win like the Tigers did against them.
Back to Boyd. Inning over. Let the Royals get a run. Moustakas drives in Merrifield, and at the end of 5, Detroit's lead is down to 3.
final game of this series. Create moments that you'll remember forever with the Royals Memories program. Download the MLB Ballpark app now to choose from unique experiences that gives you access to the field. Watch batting practice next to the pros and deliver the game ball to the mound. Or take in a fireworks show from the outfield grass. See full list of experiences on the Ballpark app on your mobile device. That's experience. Check it out.
Wow. 5-2 Tigers lead. Ronnie Rodriguez has a sacrifice bunt and a ground out. He was out on both plays, and both were good defensive plays by the Royals, who have really stepped it up defensively since the second half. You know, part of his stance, and I see a little Mike Aviles in there, but the beginning reminds me of a Japanese hitter when he gets his hands way out in front of his chest. Right there, and then the hands go above the helmet. Then it becomes a little bit of a, almost like a Julio Franco. Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe, you know, as a kid when you imitate other hitters, maybe his gift was he could imitate 3 or 4 hitters in one at bat.
It's always good on the Little League field with your buddies. Try to show them. But you know, no matter where you start or however you start it, your hands are always going to be in the hitting position when the ball's on the way. That's just the way every hitter has always been in this game of baseball. It has to be. It's so hard to hit a round ball with a round bat. You got to be right there with your hands ready to throw. Throw like throw a punch.
Remember the batting stance guy?
Yeah. He got a lot of attention doing that.
Remember, we were in Anaheim one year, and he was holding court with a bunch of the Royals and going through their stances, and the guys were just falling over. They were laughing so hard.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes you'll do that in the clubhouse or in stretch or something. A player will walk out and he'll say, player quiz, who am I? You know, and the guys will all laugh. And the person they're making fun of, he laughs too, usually.
You're saying that every now and then you might have a thin-skinned teammate.
Yeah, there's some sensitive guys at times, you know, and lots of times a veteran, that's when they'll pull that out on a guy when he's scuffling a little bit, kind of get a laugh maybe out of him. But you know, they're moody like everybody else is.
One and two on Jacoby Jones.
But you know, all the ribbing that guys take, and of course I took a lot of ribbing in my day, the best way to go through that is to smile your way through it and take it, and then when it's your turn to give it out, you can give out a little bit of yours as well. But you got to take it with a smile. That's the best way to take it.
Duffy has struck out 6 today. And now Jose Iglesias, the number 8 hitter. And he has our Dodge drive of the game, a 3-run home run in the Tigers' 4-run 4th inning.
Pretty much a no-doubter on contact.
Who wore you out more than any other teammate?
The late, great Don Baylor. He used to laugh at me in the batting practice cage before the games. And he would, because, you know, the Yankee Stadium grass in the infield was really thick. It was deep. Probably, you know, I mean, so any ball I hit, it would just suck it up and could barely get to the outfield. So he would, the other guys in my hitting group, Roy Smalley, Toby Hara, Ken Griffey, and Don Baylor and Rex Hudler. What name didn't go in that bunch? And I was young, and Don Baylor would say, okay, everybody, close your eyes and listen who's hitting. And I would take a swing, and, you know, it sounded like I was using a sporting news, and he would go, oh, Hud, that sounds so terrible. You better get a bellman to get you in your room tonight. Your hands are bleeding. And you know what I do? I just laughed. Oh, shucks. All right. But when I went home in the off season, I got in that weight room. That motivated me. Guys laughing at me like that. But I love Don Baylor. He motivated me. And then he ended up being my hitting coach for a couple of teams. But I took it and left.
Iglesias is Duffy's second walk today.
Little action up in the bullpen. Duffy's 100th coming.
Reyes into shallow center field, and that will fall with 2 outs. Iglesias is going on contact and still barely made it to third base. So Victor Reyes puts runners at first and third for the top of the order.
This is a no-doubter. You take a swing like that, you leave the batter's box, you're saying, all right, that's fallen. And the base runner continues to go in betweener. Hit a little tweener. Dying quail. A lot of terms hitters have used over the years for hits like that.
Duffy takes a big deep breath as the Tigers begin their 4th time through. Jeimer Candelario is 1 for 3. Snap throw trying to get the Rule 5 rookie Victor Reyes. Glenn Sparkman is throwing in the Royals bullpen.
Big opportunity for Duffy right here to don't let them get any bigger lead. Keep the Royals in the game.
Two balls, no strikes.
Fall behind in the count. Does Duffy. The hitter says, all right, it's a fastball situation. I'm looking heater. And if he mislocates it, I'm going to hit it hard. That's what he's thinking.
That one goes all the way to the backstop. And a run will score. So that's the second time that the Tigers have scored a run today on a wild pitch. And it's the second time that a batter runner who reached on a walk.
Salvi's holding his glove on the plate. He wasn't expecting it to get let go like that. I don't know if that's scored a wild pitch or a pass ball. Was that a wild pitch?
Right now it's a wild pitch.
Okay.
And it's 3-0 on Candelario. And I don't think Duffy can just lay one in there. Three and 1. So the Tigers get that run right back after the Royals scored in the bottom of the 5th inning. And they have another 4-run lead. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
57% fastballs from Duffy this afternoon. That's what he's been successful with. Keys early in the game for him to succeed against the Tigers were to use that pitch, but has had some difficulty commanding it this afternoon. Just a little bit of elevation has been the problem, and a lot of them have been hit as secondary pitches, as curveball and changeup.
Jammed him, and he gets it out into center field, and Duffy's frustrated, throwing his hands up in the air as Reyes comes around to score. Candelario has his second hit, and now the Tigers have their biggest lead. It is 7-2, and that's the end of Duffy's day. So Ned Yost makes a Chevy call to the bullpen.
Tigers lead 7-2 in the 6th inning. Celebrate 50 seasons of Royals baseball at the Royals Charities 5K Retro Run Walk on Saturday, August 18th. Run on the field at Kauffman Stadium, plus get a retro t-shirt and a free ticket to the game. Sign up at royals.com/run, presented by Fox Sports Kansas City and Price Chopper. And on the 18th, the Royals will actually be out of town that day, but you'll get a ticket to a future game. Glenn Sparkman has not appeared for 10 days. This is his first outing since the All-Star break. However, that appearance 10 days ago was his first scoreless outing in the big leagues, pitching 2 scoreless innings. He faced 6 and retired 6. And he comes on with a runner at first base and 2 down in the 6th.
Ned Yost, he's well aware of who's he's used and who he hasn't, and he's going to try to do all he can, find the right situation to get the guys in the game.
The sun was an issue for Escobar, but Alex Gordon comes in from left and takes care of it, and that ends the Tigers' 6th inning. They add 2 more and lead 7-2.
a nice job today. In a place where he has not had a lot of success here at the K, he's turned the tables. It's nice when you get some run support. Our keys to beat him was to lay off the slider. Royals have had a hard time with that today. He had 6 strikeouts. He's cruising.
Flips it in at 70 miles an hour to Bonifacio. He's flied out to center field twice today. One ball, one strike. No walks in 5 innings, 6 strikeouts. Bonifacio hooks it to the corner. Foul. Which brings us to our Sonic Slam inning. And our contestant is Michelle Mathis from Carrollton, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run out of the park in this inning, Michelle wins $500. $25,000 if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park in this inning. Ground ball right to Iglesias. One away in the bottom of the 6th. The year the Royals won the World Series, they were in Toronto about this time of year. And it was the final game of the series. And remember, Royals and Blue Jays got into it. Edinson Volquez pitching up and in on Josh Donaldson.
I do remember that.
Ryan Madsen was involved. One ball, one strike. On the same day, there was big news in Toronto that they had acquired David Price from the Detroit Tigers for a couple of high ceiling pitching prospects. Daniel Norris and Matthew Boyd were 2 of the top pitching prospects for the Blue Jays. And while Boyd looks really good today, Tigers are still waiting on those 2 guys to take their games to the next level. Look out. And hit an empty seat. We saw Matthew Boyd's Tigers debut in August of 2015, and he pitched really well. He held the Royals to 1 run in 7 innings. Norris is on the disabled list. He had surgery for a torn groin, which had been bothering him for the past couple of years. But Daniel Norris and Matthew Boyd from the Blue Jays to the Tigers for David Price. Dozier is down on strikes, and Boyd has struck out 7. David Price provided one of the more thrilling games of that 2-year postseason run right here in a late afternoon game at Kauffman Stadium. Remember those extreme shadows? The Royals did nothing against him, and the shadows went away, and the Royals had a big inning against David Price and
I remember
marched into Toronto with a 2-0 lead.
that was a lot of fun. That's when Locane scored from first base on that ball down the right field line. Scored all the way.
That was later in the. That was the.
Oh, was that later?
Game 6.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but I remember we couldn't touch Price. He was dealing.
Alex Gordon hooks it deep but foul. The David Price game, and it's a little easier to talk about this now with Ryan Goins no longer with the Royals. That was the game where, remember, Goins and Bautista weren't able to handle a pop-up in shallow right field, and that really got the inning going. Boyd gets to the bag after the toss from Rodriguez, so he just keeps sailing along today. He's gone 6 and given up 2 runs on 7 hits, and he's pitching with a 5-run lead. And then the Tigers added 2 more in the 6th inning. Matthew Boyd gets some pats on the back in the Tiger dugout. Here's his Pizza Ranch for the win line. 2 runs, 7 hits in 6 innings. We're working in the Tiger bullpen as Boyd chats with Rick Anderson, who became the Tigers pitching coach in the middle of the season, replacing Chris Bosio.
Yeah, you know, and before that, Ron Gardenhire, his manager, gave him a hug. It's nice. I mean, you get a handshake or a pat on the back from your field general, that's good, but you get a hug, that's, you know, that's like, wow. All right.
Oh, 2 on Castellanos, who is 0 for 3 today. And just 1 for 10 in the series. Where the Tigers would come to town. You're talking about Miguel Cabrera, JD Martinez, Justin Upton, Ian Kinsler. And those guys are either gone or on the disabled list. So this is one of the few bats that you worry about. And he's having a good year, Castellanos, but he really hasn't chipped in much offensively at all. And here are the Tigers leading 7-2 in the 7th inning.
Yeah, you normally think he'd be in the middle of that.
And Sparkman strikes him out.
Nice.
Sparkman got the last out of the 6th and gets his first strikeout of the day against Castellanos in the 7th.
Sparkman, he's got a good mid-90s fastball, low to mid-90s, and a slider 81 to 82, and change in curve. He's looked like he mixed in a little change there. That was nice. Good location.
John Hicks has chipped in. He has a couple of runs scored today.
And for Sparkman, you know, you mentioned 10 days since he's thrown against a big league hitter. So far, so good.
0-2.
And when you're a young pitcher and you're trying to make a mark in the majors, and I don't care if you've been out for 2 weeks and haven't pitched, you still want to be able to step up and not use that as an excuse and go at hitters to make an impression. It's not easy. And that's kind of where Sparkman is. Young guy trying to get established. Got a good tempo. He's got big, strong guy. Got some upside to him. He wants to show it.
Sparkman was drafted by the Royals in the 20th round of 2013, and then he went to the Blue Jays in the Rule 5 draft before last season, and actually made 2 major league appearances for the Blue Jays. And then they had roster issues. Sparkman spent some time on the disabled list, and so he was returned to the Royals. So when he made his Royals debut this year, it was not his big league debut. That'll drop in front of Witt, and John Hicks is on for the 3rd time today.
Just laid it out there. Purchase 20 or more tickets for a single game and receive a 20% discount. Group tickets are available for all home games, and groups of 20 or more can save big. Suites and party areas are also available on a nightly basis, so folks, plan your company event or get together with friends or co-workers today. Email group sales at royals.com to start planning your next big event right here. Why not?
Victor Martinez with 1 on 1 out. He has 2 more hits today. He has driven in a run and he has scored a run. Martinez has hinted strongly hinted that this will be it for him as his Tiger contract comes to an end after the season. 1 ball, 1 strike. Last year, he spent a lot of time on the disabled list with not your typical aches and pains or sprains. Twice he went on the disabled list because of an irregular heartbeat and ended up to have a surgical procedure. 1 ball and 2 strikes. This is what he's done with Detroit. Came up through the Indians organization. Twice he was their minor league player of the year and then was an all-star catcher. On to the Red Sox. He has over 2,000 hits. He's been an MVP candidate. He finished second to Mike Trout in 2014. Hit it hard but foul to the right field side, but irregular heartbeat, a lot of knee problems. Had a couple of surgeries on his left knee. He's had elbow surgery.
Man, if there's any opportunities for him, it'll be right here in the American League somewhere as a DH. Positions limited.
Hit well to left, but Alex is there. 2 outs. And now Sparkman will get Ronnie Rodriguez. Oh for 2 with a sacrifice bunt, Ronnie Rodriguez. Off the end of the bat. And again, it's Alex out in left. And that's the inning. So Sparkman isn't showing any rust today. Royals will be facing Drew Verhagen in the bottom of the 7th. destroying homes in several communities. The Red Cross quickly responded with disaster relief and continues to support the affected area. Please consider a donation to support the response by calling 1-800-RED-CROSS or going online at redcross.org. And we have a lot of Royals fans in central Iowa. I understand that Marshalltown and Pella were affected the most. Drew Verhagen will take over in the bottom of the 7th inning. Royals are down 7-2 after Matthew Boyd was very impressive in his 6 innings.
Verhagen's ERA is not where he wants it, that's for sure. It's a little bit high for him. He's 90 to 96 with his fastball. Curve change. He's a big guy, 6'6", 230, 27 years old. Got a good arm, just got to locate it.
It'll be Escobar, Mondesi, and Merrifield in the 7th inning. Esky has a bunt single, his first of the year. And this is game 101. And he's also flied out to deep left. Three balls, one strike.
Pirates had a nice winning streak. Remember, Trevor Bauer put an end to that today. Punched out 10. He's a tough guy to beat.
Iglesias, bounce, out. That out happened a lot here with the AstroTurf. Not very often with the grass you get a 2-bouncer.
Yeah, that's hard. 1-2, good stretch. Rodriguez picked it just for his 3rd start ever at first base. Looks pretty good.
And now Mondesi will bat left-handed for the first time today. As a right-hand batter, he struck out and grounded to 3rd against Matthew Boyd. One and one. Two balls, one strike on Mondesi. And he got him to chase one up and out of the strike zone. 2-2. Mondesi's playing at second base today in his first game back after missing every Royals game since the break on the medical family emergency list. And now Mondesi hits one off the end of the bat into center field. And he is on with one out. Our sprint trivia question, Hud. Mike Moustakas has 4 seasons of 20 or more home runs. Name the 4 third basemen with more seasons of 20 or more home runs in the last 10 years. So Moustakas has 4 seasons of 20 or more home runs. Over the last 10 years, there are 4 third basemen with more seasons of 20 or more home runs. Merrifield hits it to Castellanos in right field. He is 1 for 4 today, and there are 2 down. Well,
got to be. How about Hall of Famer, maybe potential Hall of Fame numbers. How about Beltre? I'll throw Beltre out there.
Adrian Beltre, correct.
He'll be a no-brain Hall of Famer. Maybe first ballot. Think? Beltre? I think so. He's got a lot of respect. Plus, he's got the hits to prove it.
Oh, 2 on Rosell Herrera.
We can't use George on this one, can we?
No. The last 10 years.
Okay.
What about before he moved to the outfield, Ryan Braun?
I don't remember him playing third base. Huh. Well, he's been around. How about
Nolan Arenado?
Don't think he's been in the league that long. 5 years, maybe. How about?
Well, if he's had 5 years, he's hit 20 home runs all those years, hasn't he?
Well,
we'll put him down as a maybe.
Where's Josh Donaldson in that conversation?
2 balls, 2 strikes. I like Josh Donaldson.
Okay.
Josh Donaldson.
Oh,
correct.
Wow. Like it good enough to throw him out there. No way.
2 more. Backhanded by Goodrum, and then he had an easy underhand toss to second base, but the ball did not go from glove hand to throwing hand. It is an error.
See if Moose can make it hurt. Get him right back in the game with one big swing. Mondesi overslid the base. Iglesias wasn't watching, and it clipped his left foot, and he went down. Okay, you got to clear yourself, get off of that base. And Mondesi didn't mean to do it, but there's just there's little or no contact anymore at second base. So he wasn't expecting to go down there, but sometimes that transfer from glove to hand can get you. Make him pay.
Goodrum gets another chance and throws out Moustakas. So the Royals strand 2, and at the end of 7, it is still 7-2 Tigers.
For him, we'll break that one down here from Ned Yost and get you ready for a long road trip beginning with the Yankees. That and more coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. And speaking of the Yankees, our University of Kansas Health System injury report update takes a look at the Bronx Bombers catcher Gary Sanchez going on the disabled list for the second time this year with a groin injury. However, he has a 188 batting average. They've got plenty of others that'll be dangerous, and so we'll see the Royals heading out there soon.
All right, thank you, Joel. Glenn Sparkman goes back to work in the 8th inning. He's pitched an inning and a third scoreless. And he pitches to Jacoby Jones as we continue our sprint trivia question. We have 2 of the 4 in the last 10 years. What third baseman basically have 5 or more seasons of 20 home runs? We have identified Josh Donaldson.
Ding, ding, ding. Oh, we don't know yet. Have we guessed him?
Yeah, we've gotten Donaldson.
That's what I thought.
And Adrian Beltre. We've thrown out Nolan Arenado.
You came up with a good one.
This is his 6th year in the big leagues,
Okay.
Arenado. He is up over 20 again. I'm going to say Nolan. What do you think?
Yeah, go with
Nolan Arenado. Incorrect. Wow. He's only had 4. I think he's got 5 gold gloves, though.
Better believe that's right. Every year he's worn a big league uniform.
During the commercial, you brought up Evan Longoria.
Maybe. I thought he had some good years with Tampa Bay.
He's been hurt a lot, but I threw out David Wright. What about Pablo Sandoval? Because we are talking the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's a lot of homers.
Jones went around. That's Sparkman's 2nd strikeout.
Tied him up inside. That'll do it. You're looking for a heater, and by the time you get around to swinging at it, it looks good, you're out. Too late. Somebody
go with Longoria.
There's got to be a retired guy.
He's been around for a long time.
He has been. Let's try it.
Evan Longoria. Correct.
Okay. How many more?
1 more to go. 2 strikes. Escobar cuts it off and over to Dozier in time. 2 away.
Escobar always light on his feet, and I don't know how many times we've seen him make this play. Routine. You know, when your body's going all that way towards right field, you got to really throw that ball up the line a little bit to get it to sail to first. It's a touch throw, and he knows it so well.
What about Manny Machado?
Ooh.
Now, he essentially missed a year. Remember when he wrecked his knee?
I remember
and
that.
then his first year, he came up late. He got his first 2 major league home runs against the Royals.
I like it. Go with it.
This is going to be 4-1. Heads up by Sparkman, realizing that Dozier had gone for that ground ball. So Glenn Sparkman hadn't pitched in 10 days, but he's turned in 2 1/3 scoreless this afternoon.
So the Royals are down by 5. This is the deciding game of the series. Alex Wilson will pitch the 8th. We saw Wilson in game 1 on Monday. He went an inning and a third, giving up 3 hits and no runs.
Always reliable. Keeps the ball down. He's got a sinker, and that one was pretty straight. 89 to 93 slider change.
Salvi is 1 for 4. That's the second time he's hit a comebacker today. And now Jason Adam gets ready for the top of the 9th inning. Bonifacio's 0 for 3 today. 1 more to go, Hud. On our trivia question. Which is, in the last 10 years, there have been 4 third basemen who have had 5 seasons of 20 or more home runs. We have Adrian Beltre, Josh Donaldson, Evan Longoria, with 1 strike. We've discussed David Wright, Pablo Sandoval, Manny Machado. Miguel Cabrera played some third base for the Tigers. I don't know if he was there for 5 years, though.
He was pretty good for the Marlins for a while.
But that would have been beyond 10 years ago.
It was.
Years with the Marlins. But he was over there when Prince Fielder came over. Look at him. Well, there's a hint right there. Longoria has 8. The guy we're missing has more or the same as Beltre and Donaldson. I threw out Pablo Sandoval, but Giants really don't hit a lot of home runs in that ballpark.
No, they don't. And he's more of a line drive spray type hitter. If he did that 20 years in a row, I don't know if I'd use that name.
20 years in a row?
I mean, last 10 years.
David Wright, Manny Machado.
How many strikes do we got to work with?
2.
Oh, throughout David Wright, he's had a nice long career.
Been hurt a lot.
Oh well. It's all about your feel.
Who was the Phillies' third baseman during their great run? When they were winning all those divisions. You know, I can picture everybody else: Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, Carlos Ruiz.
Drawing a blank.
Who was their third baseman? Because that's a team that won a lot in a ballpark where you can hit a lot of home runs. Dozier gets jammed and Iglesias runs it down. So we will continue to ponder as we head to the 9th inning. Detroit leads 7-2.
7-2 Tigers to the 9th inning. And speaking of a great deal, Scott Edwards, an engineer on our Fox Sports Kansas City crew, got a great deal to move to Texas and work with Texas Tech after spending time with us for 3.5 years. That's a picture taken of him earlier today. The crew had a party for him out by our production truck with some cake.
Nice.
And the Royals gifted him a box of goodies, hats, shirts, sweatshirts, so he could take that with him to Lubbock and
outstanding,
show his Royals pride. So congratulations and good luck to Scott Edwards.
Thank you, Scott.
Jason Adam will get the 9th inning. Glenn Sparkman went 2 1/3. So he's had back-to-back scoreless outings of multiple innings. And Jason will get the top of the Tigers order.
Yep. Adams doing much better, getting his fastball and curveball to work for him. He's got a change. It's over the top, big curve. He's mid-90s, maybe a little bit more. You know, Ned Yost today, talking with you, was talking about opportunity. And the question was asked, when Peralta is doing a good job in his closer's role now, did Ned always picture Peralta in that role? And Ned said, no, we were looking for somebody to step up whenever you get that opportunity. We gave him a shot at it, and he stepped up. Adams, same way. Sparkman, now the fact that he threw a couple of scoreless innings, that was good. That's what he's talking about, stepping up and performing. Throwing some zeros up there. It's a nice outing for him.
2 1/3 innings, 1 hit, and 2 strikeouts. And now Jason Adams. Adam begins his outing with a strikeout. Royals pitchers have struck out 9 today. Refreshing saves from Price Chopper and Aquafina. Sign up at mypricechopper.com/saves to save on Aquafina when the Royals get a save. We've been told, by the way, did some research on the Phillies,
right?
And they had a bunch of different third basemen.
That's
they had Abraham Nunez, they had Pedro Feliz, Placido Polanco.
Yeah, Placido was good. Do we get any?
Polanco had some good years with the Tigers.
Can we ask for a hint for this last name, maybe, or this last name? We got to. No hints.
Have we named the 4th guy yet in our discussion? Nothing.
They're giving us.
We're on
crickets.
an island today.
It's crickets now. We jumped out ahead of them. They're not.
3 balls, 1 strike. Either that's the crew's way of saying you're on your own, or they just haven't been paying attention to us at all today, and they don't know what we've been discussing. Mike Moustakas, when he homered last night, has 4 seasons of 20 or more home runs in the last 10 years. There are 4 third basemen who have had 5 or more seasons. Goodrum walks with 1 out. Evan Longoria, Adrian Beltre, Josh Donaldson, and
you guess. We have 2 more strikes. Let's do it. Got some good names down there. I wrote a few names down. Don't know.
Now you wrote down Chipper Jones,
but
you know, he's already had 5-6 years of retirement.
I know.
And he probably wasn't hitting 20 every year.
That's okay.
To the end.
What about my other name I wrote down?
Kyle Seager with Seattle.
I thought that was pretty.
That's
decent.
solid.
They're getting a little impatient and they want an answer.
Timeout had been called. Jason Adam came set, and Castellanos called for time.
Wouldn't imagine Goodrum will be running here. He's got 7 steals. He could do it. Adam holding is a variation of his hold times. He's holding and then he's going fast and then he's holding longer and thinks he might be stealing. He's a good athlete. Is Adam as far as his footwork, and throws to first.
That's a swing.
You know, you have 98-mile-an-hour fastball. His curveball has been impressive when he can get it over. When he commands it, it's working.
One ball, 2 strikes. Castellanos is out with first base occupied, but Goodrum moves up on a wild pitch. Jason Adam has struck out 2 in the inning.
Stuff. There it is, side of the ball, that yak. I tell you, and that's going away from the righty, very difficult, and especially, I told you earlier, that 98-mile-an-hour fastball gets a hitter off his guard. That's how it can be successful.
Last chance, Hud. I mean, we don't want to take a called third strike here, do we?
No. We have to throw some names out there. We have a couple of options left.
I don't feel good about any of them.
Well, then we'll let him win one.
Miguel Cabrera, strike 2. He played third base for the Tigers when he first came over. Then they moved him over to first. Then they got Prince Fielder and they moved him back to third. But oh, wait a minute, we had another strike left.
Yeah,
it was Kyle Seager. My bad, Hud.
Oh, you mean they went ahead and threw it out there?
Yeah, we still had one more strike. So I think that's a push.
Oh man, well, you know,
you got all of them.
I did.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
Nobody
Seager.
Nobody gets a point. We didn't say Seager, and
but we
only had 2 strikes.
We had 3 innings, 4 innings to get it.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh-oh.
Goodrum goes to third. It's a wild pitch. Royals have 4 wild pitches today. Kyle Seager, you wrote it down.
Well, just, you know, trying to think ahead a little bit about the third baseman. You know, what always helps is looking at our notes with the standings and all the teams. You know, it kind of brings back memories. Kind of figure out who's been around and who's. You know, Seager's been a stud third baseman for a long time over there. Really has some good years left in him too. He's young. He might be 30 or under, a little bit.
And now Hicks is on. So a mixed bag for Jason Adam. He has walked 2. He has struck out 2. He's uncorked a couple of wild pitches. And it'll be Victor Martinez with 2 on and 2 out. A lot of standing around on defense for the Royals in this inning.
No doubt.
Martinez has 2 hits. He has driven in a run and he has scored a run. Base hit into right field. Victor Martinez makes it 8-2. He has driven in 5 in this series.
So he's been answering, can I still get around on a good fastball? He's been answering that question. Because the damage he's been doing, some of the other hits have been off speed. There's 93 up in the zone.
And now Ron Gardenhire will get him off of his legs. Tigers go home after the game and then they have a day off. So Jim Adducci will run at first base. Ronnie Rodriguez hits a pop foul back and out of play. Oh, and 2. Tigers will hope that this will be the game that gets their offense going. They've gone a month averaging just a little over 3 runs per game, 3.3, and that's the lowest average in the American League over that span. But 8 runs, 11 hits, 5 out of 9 with runners in scoring position. And Ron Gardenhire's team coming into today had lost 23 in their last 30 games. They will go home and play the Indians. Shallow center. Mondesi's out. He's got it. Tigers tack on. Victor Martinez drives in a run to the bottom of the 9th. Detroit leads 8-2.
18. RBI Baseball 18 delivers an all-new franchise mode and much more. RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at rbigame.com. Rated E for everyone.
Shane Green, Tigers closer, will come on in a 6-run game, and Ron Gardenhire can do that with a day off tomorrow. Green got his 20th save on Monday night. He faced 4 in the bottom of the 9th inning. And he'll get Gordon, Escobar, and Mondesi in the 9th inning today. Alex back in the 2nd inning. Drove in Dozier with a double that tied the game at 1. The Tigers' big inning was a 4-run 4th, highlighted by Jose Iglesias' 3-run home run. And the Tigers got to Danny Duffy today. They scored 7 of their 8 runs against Duffy. That was over 5 2/3 innings. Alex hits it to left, shallow, and a dive and a catch by Reyes. And Alex gets a taste of his own medicine.
There you go. Reyes. He came in right on contact, got a good jump, read the spin, and he's going to lay out. This is just how you make a catch. Land on your chest. See that? Both arms out. Land on your chest. You'll stay away from shoulder injuries. Good play.
A Rule 5 pick for the Tigers. And here's Alcides Escobar, who has a bunt single. Interesting about the Rule 5 draft this year, the top 2 players came from the same team. Victor Reyes and Brad Keller both played for AA Jackson in the Diamondbacks organization. The Tigers took Reyes. The Reds took Keller, but they had a deal in place with the Royals, so he was immediately traded to the Royals. And they are the best of friends. Brad was saying that that's one of his best friends in baseball, Victor Reyes, and they spent 3 different seasons together in the Diamondbacks organization.
Good for both of them.
And now they're both in the big leagues thanks to the Rule 5 draft.
Love it.
1-2 on Escobar. The Tigers missed Brad Keller. He pitched the Sunday game against Minnesota, and his next start will be Friday in New York on his 23rd birthday.
That'll be a good one. Hopefully he pitches a good one.
That'll be a test for the Royals rotation, which for the most part has had a nice run in the last 8 games. Jones brings it down in center field. 2 outs. And our copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Club. Ryan Lefevre with Rex Hudler, and Joel Goldberg is coming up with Boulevard Royals Live. Director Steve Kurtenbach, producer Kevin Cedergren, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and Dave Holtzman. And the producer of Royals Live is Casey Carter. And director Steve Kurtenbach now has confessed to me that it was his itchy trigger finger which led to revealing the trivia question too soon. Candelario saw a vapor trail going up the first base line and decided not to challenge that vapor trail. And Mondesi has an infield single.
Man, get a clock on that. I'd like to have that from home to first. That was probably 3-6. 3-5 maybe. I mean, look at that. Man, oh man. That might be the best time all year by anyone. bet we could get a clock on that if I had that full time, full speed rerun right there. I'd go from hit to stop. Let's see it.
Strike on Whit Merrifield. He's 1 for 4 with a single, a stolen base, and a run scored.
.396 to first base. That's well above average. 31 feet per second. That is elite speed. 4.2 is the major league average. 90 feet to first base. We saw a lot of bunting from him last year. I'd like to see more of that. There's no need to be ashamed to get on base. With that kind of speed, shoot, that defender, he got to be perfect.
And Whit hits it to right center field. Castellanos was shallow. So Mondesi will score. Whit goes to third for $1,000. And it is 8-3 in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Castellanos likes to play at shallow right field, and on contact, I'm thinking, man, if that lands, that's 3 for sure. And then he had a little slight problem picking it up.
And with that triple, the Kansas City Honda dealers will donate $1,000 to the KC Urban Youth Academy.
It's hard to believe that that's Whitney's first triple of the year. Huh. Well, you'd think he'd have more. That speed.
Back through the middle, and now Rosel Herrera drives in a run. So at 2 outs and nobody on, the Royals get an infield single, a triple, another base hit.
Rosie hit him where they aim. 2-3 hopper, worm burner right through the middle of the infield. Nicely done. Pick up a stake along the way.
On Mike Moustakas in what could be his last at bat at Kauffman Stadium as a member of the Royals. We thought that was certain when he came to bat for the last game of the season in 2017. And really, he was never part of the conversations during the offseason until the very end, and didn't sign until spring training. 59 home runs here, 3 more in the postseason.
You just never know. It'd be nice if Green would give him a cookie right here. Hit it out of the park for his 21st.
Pulled foul, 2 balls, 2 strikes. The 2 Royals that came back, at least on paper, were the 2 most unlikely to come back, because if the Royals had some depth, it was at third and at short. But it was Moustakas and Escobar who came back. Green strikes him out, and that ends the game. So the Royals get a couple in the bottom of the 9th inning, but the Tigers win the game 8-4, and they win the series 2-1. And for the Tigers, they had not won a series since the middle of June. So they break a long drought as they head home for a homestand. The Royals hit the road for 11 days. Final score 8-4 Detroit. We'll be right back.